me to, the conversation. I feel like a lot of criticism has been thrown your way because you become visible from kind of the Ferguson movement and the protests, and there's so many different kind of critics and criticisms about you and your visibility. How do you think that visibility is like impacting your ability to do the work that you started off doing?
Yeah, I try to think about like how do I use the platforms to amplify the work of other people, to make sure that I'm telling the truth as I see it, and to connect as many people as possible. The hard part is some of it is like we just don't talk about it publicly. So I think about one of the cooler things that we've done is that we were helping the activists in Florida. So there are 2 million ex-felons in Florida that can't vote. It's on the ballot in November. Hopefully it'll pass. Like we have a lot of faith in it. But we were supporting, it's a dope thing like this. We were supporting the activists in Florida, and there's this really interesting, and by interesting I mean awful, law around petitions. They needed 700,000 signatures, and the way the law works is that you have to have a certain percentage of signatures or petitions from a certain percentage of precincts. So like, you can't just get them from the big cities. So we helped them build this platform that like mailed petitions around. So that was really cool. But what we also did is like I called Lady Gaga, called Katy Perry. We got Jay-Z to like open up the concert hall so that they could gather signatures at the concerts, right? So they got like thousands of signatures in one fell swoop in ways that they just couldn't do at a grocery store. And like those are the things. Like, so when I think about like why I'm in the room, it's like to ask people to do that stuff. I'm not like planning barbecues, you know what I mean? It's like I'm like, Gaga, can you open the thing? And she's like, DeRay, can I go to the table? I'm like, Gaga, it's your concert. You can go to whatever table you want to. Like, thank you. So that is like so much of how I think about it. And I'm mindful that the platform exists for more than just me. That like it is about how do we make sure that we tell the truth in as public as possible ways. And like chapter 3 is about data. Is that like I think about if you get killed in this country and a newspaper doesn't write about your death, if you get killed by a police officer in this country and a newspaper doesn't write about you, you just don't exist in the data set. So any number you've ever heard about police violence comes from the aggregate of newspaper reports, which is pretty wild. So the database that you might know best is like the Washington Post database. The challenge with the Post database is that it only includes on-duty killings that include a gun. So if you think about Eric Garner, it was on duty, not a gun. He's not in the database. You think about Botham Jean, so the young man who was recently the officer went into his house, shot him, that was off duty and included a gun, not in the database. And like we feel like there has to be a place where all these things are actually held. So like we use our platform to like create that, to amplify like those sort of things. And then we spent a lot of time, we created the first public database of police union contracts, and like we found a lot of interesting things. So like in California, there's a law that says that any investigation of an officer that lasts more than a year can never result in discipline, regardless of the outcome. That doesn't make sense. In Cleveland, they destroy police officer disciplinary records every 2 years. That doesn't make sense. In Maryland, my home state, there's a law that says that you can file an anonymous complaint against an officer for everything except brutality. And you're like, that's sort of wild. So like we wanted to like figure out how do we like lift those things up, because these are the reasons why like nobody's ever held accountable. It's like it's a structural issue, and like we're fascinated with those things.
So then